new strings on now, so I'm gonna have to check. I got a bit different layout board here. Just trying to warm up the strings here. still in tune. So I changed my setup a little bit here, so bear with me. But don't worry, as always, it's a nice bear that's with me. It's a nice bear. Bear with me. It's a bear bodyguard. It's nice until you mess with it. See if I can put this, maybe try to change my setup a bit. Well, whatever. It seems to be rolling. Okay, so now what I'm trying to do here, this is a little off. Something's a little off with this one. How come I can't see the top bit on this? Can't see the top bit. Oh, I have to, this one's down too far. Has to go to right there. There we go. Okay, so now I've made it so I have two Excel worksheets actually open at the same time. And so the bottom Excel worksheet, like this one here, you can see my pointer. It's very small now. The pointer's awfully small. Anyway, this one here is going to be the worksheet that has the collection of notes up in the right-hand corner, and then up atop, this one up top should also be there. But see, in the red area, I've given the three pieces. So I'll have to change this over here. So I've given the three pieces. So it's going to be the three that I like to play in the most are the major. So the first letter represents the major, C collection of notes around C major, and then the minor. So the second letter represents the minor, related minor, which is the Aeolian, and then the third one represents the Mixolydian. Those are the three modes that I think I've been messing around with, at least lately, the most. So then if I switch to this one, if I remember to switch them both, I can switch over to this one. And so now both of them have changed. So now I'm looking at the collection of notes around D major, and the related minor, if you can see in this red one up here, the related minor is a B, and then we have an A Mixolydian. So I'm often going back and forth between the last one, which is going to be A minor, and then A Mixolydian, which is this collection, which is around the D major. So then the next one, if I go to the next one, so this one is A sharp or B flat, which you can see here. And the reason I go there is because I kind of like to see the three notes is A sharp or B flat, and then a G would be the minor. So that would be a G minor, which I often want to play in conjunction with the collection of notes around the key of C, which has a G Mixolydian. And then we have an F, and then the F happens to be the Mixolydian. And then the next one, I have the collection of notes here around G major, and then I'm going to be looking at the three collections on this triad. Is the major is a G, and then the minor is E, and then the D is the Mixolydian, and then finally I have this collection of notes that I'm going to noodle with, which is the collection of A major, which has a, and then the minor is going to be F sharp or G flat, but I usually play it because I'm looking for that Mixolydian E in this collection that I can kind of combine with the E minor, Mixolydian E and E minor. So that's what I'm thinking. And then hopefully my guitar fits like in this shape over here. This fits pretty good. I can kind of move this down maybe a bit. Oh no, I can't. That's where the camera stops. It's a camera thing, not a positioning thing. All right, well, whatever. So anyway, and so now this, my fretboard lines up to this one, and kind of to the one above it. I know the one above it's really small, but that one's just to give you the letter names and the distances, and I can change the perspective of the letter names and the distance names up top if I remember to do that too. So let's go back. Let's go back to the OG one. See if this works. All right, so now I'm in the collection of notes around C major, which has the related A minor, and I was working in like A minor yesterday. So now maybe I'll just noodle around with my new worksheet today and see if it makes sense. All right, so what do I want to noodle around with? Maybe I can grab these pointers like way down here. It's kind of crazy. So now I can move this like with my cursors way down. Anyway, so maybe I want to, so what was I going to do today? I think I was going to switch between so this is A minor, and then this is A mixolydian. So here's A mixolydian. So if I go between these two, I'm thinking of myself as kind of like in the minor, but then I'm gonna sharp, so I'll go back to the bluesy thing with the mixolydian over here. So I can think about that, or maybe it would be more fun to do it with the D, normal D Dorian, and then the D mixolydian over here, because I probably haven't done that as much. D to D, but A. Let's try it with the A. So let's say I'll noodle around with the A, but I'll try to say I'm going to focus more of my time, instead of on the normal collection of the collection notes around C major, which would be A minor. I'll kind of focus more on over here, where I have the A mixolydian shape. So this is and then I'll put that over here. So now I've got A mixolydian, and it's on a mixolydian nodal structure. So now I'm thinking I'm in the collection notes around A mixolydian. So I'm looking at node number 5 now is my root. Node number 5 is the root, and it has a major shape, meaning a major third. You can see the shape of the first modal half step, second modal whole step. Third scale degree has a 4 note away major distance instead of a 3 note away minor distance there. And then so I'm going to be thinking about it more like, okay, I'm in the major shape, and then I'm going to flatten it, instead of thinking of it the other way, like I'm in the minor shape, and then I'm going to sharp the third, right? So this is kind of backwards, because I think most blues kind of thinks usually about being in like this shape number 1 from the position of the A minor. Right, and then they basically they tweak that to make it like the major or major third on it. So that means you're kind of playing a major, you're kind of playing the minor as the underthing, at least the pentatonic minor, and then you're basically tweaking it to make the major for like the 7, and sometimes the 7 and the third for particular. But you can do it the other way, right? So now I'm going to think, well, I'm going to practice being in the mixolydian collection of notes, possibly giving me more ideas to move around when I'm thinking of myself in mixolydian, right? And then maybe I can explore. So now I can explore this shape more, so that when I blend it with the A minor shape, maybe I have different ideas of what I might do that aren't just kind of like conventional ideas that I would get just from like mirroring the pattern, but to actually look at the shape differently. It might give me different, ideas, is what I'm thinking. So on this shape, then, if I was to look at it, I'm going to say the normal shape is going to be here right now. So now, if I'm in the collection of notes around D major. So if I put my pinky on D, then I go back to here to get to. Now wait a sec. Yeah, I go back to B, right there. So that would be the 6 if it was the minor. B is the minor, D is the major. I'm looking for the mixolydian. So if this, you can say if this is the 1 right here, it'd be 1, and I walk up the shape 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there. There's the node that I want. That's an A. So So that's node number 5 in this collection, which you can see here if you want to know the note names. And then you can look at the distances in this one below. The second half of each fret gives us the distance from the perspective of node number 5 in local clockwise distances using both modal distance, half steps, and scale degree distances, right? So that's going to be the idea. So I'm right. So that's position number 1, but I'm not thinking of myself as that is the root like normal, but this is the root here. So that's going to be where I'll noodle around. So then if I look at that shape, then the major things that I want to be reaching for is that if that's the root, I can see that I have a third up here, because if I go 2 modal whole steps up, 5, 6, 7, 2 modal whole steps is 4 modal half steps, or the 5th scale degree is up there. And 1 modal whole step is 5, 6, 7, brings me up here, which is 2 modal half steps, I should say, or the 3rd scale degree. And then here, that's going to be 5, 6, 7. That's 1 modal whole step. 5. No, this one is, if I go up here, it's going to be 5, right? 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 6 modal half steps, which would be 3 modal whole steps, or the 7th scale degree. So that's going to give me my minor 7 shape. So that's one place I can always land on in my normal shape. So I'm playing my normal shape, but instead of landing on like this shape, minor, or this shape, minor, I want to land on this shape, Mixolydian. Or if I do the lean forward shape, it would be this shape going here, boom, boom. And so that would be the 5th away here, 5, 5. So it'd be 5, 6, 7, 1, 2 is 4 modal half steps, which would be 2 modal whole steps, or the 5th scale degree. And then going from here to here, 5, 6, 7 is once again 2 modal whole steps, which is 2 modal half steps, which is 4 2 modal half steps, which is the 3rd scale degree. So I can play that, but I want the 7 in there. So if I want the 7, I can grab this one, which is going to be, right, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 modal half steps, plus 1 would be the 7th scale degree. So the nodes I'm really looking for is node number 5 that I'm on, and then the 3rd, which is the 7, and then the 5th is fine, but more important in the blues is possibly the 7, which is nodal point 4. So when I'm on Mixolydian, I'm looking for nodal point 5, 7, and 4 typically from the perspective of the Mixolydian node, to get that flavor, right? So I can play that up here, or I can play that down here in this shape. So I can noodle around in the same shape, do whatever I'm used to doing, but I kind of want to end off or lead to that shape or this shape. Okay, and then particularly this shape up top, then if I add like the bluesy component to it, I have the 3rd right there, so I can kind of muddy that 3rd in, meaning I can do something, I can like kind of muddy that 3rd. I could do that down here too, but it's a little bit more difficult because I'd want to be like, flattening flattening the third. That's not too difficult. It would be here. It would be going back from here. And so then the third, if I want that third, would drop down to here. So maybe I can try to bar with this finger. I don't do that too often, but that should be doable. Alright, and so then if I go on this side of it, so now this shape behind it then is what I would call shape number 5. So shape number 5 is behind it. So I'm used to that, but it's usually further back on the neck. So you have... Whoops. So I might finger that a little wonky compared to what other people might finger it as, but that's how I should probably be better at it, but that is what it is. So what do I have if I lean back? So I have a third right here. That's going to be the 5, 6, 7, one modal whole step, which is the third scale degree, and then 5, 5, and then this one over here is going to be my 7. So 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 modal half steps, plus 1 would be the 7th scale degree, right? So now I have back behind it, I have this shape that I could play, and then I'm not really grabbing the 5th, but I don't really care. I could if I want. I have a 5th above it, but that's not really giving me the flavor anyway. And so I have that, and then going the other way, I have a third back here, so I can kind of walk that back, which is always fun to do, to the third. 1, 2, 3. And then I have a 7 right here. I can't really play them at the same time, but I can get that tensiony feel between these two by dropping the root and getting the tensiony feel. So it can be like... Alright, and then I have... Okay, so that's going to be going that way. I have another one. I could try to reach down there with that. That's not really going to work. So I have that leaning back. Now that's kind of hard not to, because I'm used to playing in this position on the 5th position where it's position 1 in this collection of notes. So even though I theoretically know the shape, it's hard for me not to convert in this area of the guitar just with my hand to back to position 1 there. And the major difference is you know, that note right there is moved up, so you get that weird play like this way. So it goes dun, 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 which I kind of like to do because it gives you the flavor of that tension between these two, which has a 6-note distance even though the root isn't in it, and then you could add the root by going up here. So I feel like it's also useful to know where the box is, right? So the box on this shape is right here. So now I have the box in here. Mixolydian doesn't live in the box, but the box is where the tension is, right? All the tension's in the box, even though the Mixolydian is outside the box. So, right, I have a tensiony bit here. That's going to be the 1, 3. That could be my ending point, one ending point on this shape, because it gives you the 1, 3, 7. I'm not really as concerned with the 5. And I can grab one down here if I want the 5. Or I can lean the shape back. But the tension's right in. I go back here, then I have my open position here, which feels wonky because again it's different than the normal open position, because now I have the open string here, and I'm really playing like a lean forward position from this point. So that would be what I would call position 4, right? So position 4 starting on the 2nd fret. So in that position, I have this, but I'm also utilizing the open string, which is this G. So I'm kind of thinking, all the open strings are cool to play, but when I'm fingering leaning forward in position 4, and I'm leaning on this open. I'm sorry, it's not a G, it's a because it's an A, an open A. So now I can do this. And when I lean into that shape, of course, I'm gonna focus on the bluesy notes, which would be the 7 is out here. So if I'm on this 2, that'd be the 5th. So I'm kind of anchoring on the 5th, playing the open root Mixolydian, and then reaching up to the 7th as compared to the 5, because that's the minor 7. I have another minor 7 up top. So this gives me a very dense bluesy feel because you got 2 of those heavy 7s. That's a really heavy minor 7th up top, and then so I can kind of noodle around, and then I can grab the 3rd, which is, let's copy another one of these. Copy and paste. Oh, don't go down there though. The 3rd is up here. See? So then I could do any pattern in there. It doesn't like you can make it sound like a 12-bar blues, but you can do whatever you want, right? See, the open note is free game. Everything is free game. And then the 3rd happens to be right here, so that's the major 3rd, so I could move in from the minor 3rd. kind of just playing with rhythm after that, which I kind of like that. I guess that triple beat rhythm, I guess is what it is. So now I'm back into the position 1. Find places to stop now. So now I go, so I'm comfortable with this open position, and again, I'm not really worried. Like some people will say, well, if you're playing the 12-bar blues, you have to play this for so many bars, and then you have to play this for so many bars, and this. And if you get that in your head, you won't be able to stop getting that in your head. But in reality, you don't have to do that. You could noodle around in one chord as long as you want, right? If I'm just noodling around in Mixolydian, call it blues or what you call it, something else. I don't care what you call it. I just like doing it, all right? So whatever. So then let me check my tuning on, let me see if I'm still in tune because I put new strings on. See if we're still okay. It's a little off. We were not okay. I knew it. You've been unokay for a long time. Okay, let's not get. So then if I move to the next, like what if I move to the next chord in that progression? Normally it's going to be, you're on the Mixolydian, and then you're going to go to the what is it? The next one down, which will be the Dorian, which is a D. Now then you have the problem of, okay, well I could stay in the same shape here, but then maybe I want to, and just mirror. So now I can just say, well, whatever I did on the last shape, I'll just mirror on this shape. But it doesn't quite fit on the same collection of notes, you'll notice, because you're not playing Mixolydian anymore. You're playing off of the Ionian. So the Ionian doesn't have a flat 7, and it doesn't have the, and then you still have to play with the minor third, right? It has the major third. And that's fine, but it's going to look a little different if I stay in the same shape. I'll have to adjust this shape. So a lot of times, I mean, I might just kind of memorize the shape, and whatever I do over here. But it's not exactly. But technically, if I do that, technically I've kind of switched to now the Mixolydian of the D, right? So if I want it to fit in the same way that I'm perceiving it here, I'd have to go to the D. So here's like the collection of notes of D Mixolydian. I'll change both of these from the perspective of the Mixolydian. So this should be X. Changing my distances at the bottom in case you can see. I probably won't be able to see them anyways. But so now we're over here. So right now, now if I look at this, the D is node number 5 in this collection of notes, and now I can see if I'm on this shape and I'm playing in open position, you can see I'm doing, the same exact pattern kind of fits, right? So now I've got here, I'm putting my finger on the fifth compared to the here, because it goes 5, 6, I'm counting on my fingers, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. It's 4 half steps, which is the 5th scale degree. So the nodal point 2 Dorian is the 5th of nodal point 5 Mixolydian. And then out here, we have the 7th away because it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 5 modal half steps, which would be, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, what am I going to? 2, 3, 4. That's going to be 2 modal half steps. I'm sorry, this is which would be the 3rd scale degree from the 2, but I'm going from the 5. 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4 is 6 modal half steps, which would be the 7th scale degree. So this nodal point 4 Lydian is the 7th scale degree of the Mixolydian, right? And then I have another of those up here. And then I'm going to copy this again, and paste. I have the major third is there because it goes 5, 6, 7, 2 modal half steps plus 1 would be the 3rd scale degree. Now, if I was over here on this one, measuring from the Dorian, if I was measuring on the Dorian, you get different numbers because now I'm looking at the Dorian, but the shape is going to be a little wonky as well because it doesn't have the same distances from the Dorian for particularly the 7. All right, let's go back on over here. So anyways, so I'll think about it this way. So I think it's interesting to look at it both ways, right? I could say, well, what if I want to play with this idea, but I want to stay in this collection of notes for for the A. So I might say, well, look, maybe I want to stay in this collection of notes as I go down here, and then I would basically be using a major 7, but then I can tweak the major 7 from the perspective of the Dorian of the or I don't know. I got mixed up. Anyway, or I go over here to the Mixolydian. Let's think about it Mixolydian first. So I'm on Dorian. So now I'm on D Mixolydian. So I have the same shape, kind of fits in there. Underneath it, it's not going to be quite symmetrical because once I get down here, the fault line shifted this part up down here, right? So that part shifted to the right. So anyways, I'll continue on maybe with that one, but let's do a joke first. Let me do a quick joke. See what I got on the jokes. I'm on the political jokes again. I've been watching, as you know, I've been watching like kind of the trolls these days. I'll give you my theory on the trolling thing because this is my theory. Like, my theory is that every organization is subject to corruption, obviously, over time. It's pretty obvious theory. So, but you kind of think it wouldn't, right? Because because it gets goodwill. Like goodwill kind of accumulates up, and as soon as goodwill accumulates up, the wolves, the leeches, they see it as like a pot of gold. And even if they're not looking for money, they're looking to get the reputation, right? And it's actually more dangerous. Those people are, the trolls are more dangerous than debating against the opposition, because when you debate against the opposition, you can just debate the topics, right? It's not personal. But the trolls, they get inside and they go, it's exactly what happened to the liberals, right? The trolls started running the organizations, and anybody that got any influence got there by having favors given to them by the people that are saying things that are crazy, right? So it seems like to me, like any movement, that ends up happening, right? The trolls get inside, and then that's more corrosive than, like, you could see it in like Star Wars is a classic example from a movie thing, right? The new Star Wars makes no sense to the old Star Wars. Obviously, they saw it as a way to take the goodwill and do whatever they wanted to get famous on it or something. You see it in Hollywood in general. The whole Hollywood scene has kind of deteriorated. That's just what kind of happens over time. You see it in movements, political movements like the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement had overarching kind of noble objective of equality under the law, and then it went into affirmative action, and now it turned into DEI. DEI's objectives don't have anything to do with the civil rights, but clearly they're trying to feed off of the movement in order to gain popularity and to whatever they want to do. And in the process, the whole what was had some truth to it goes down, right? And the same, even the church, things happen in churches like that and stuff like that. And so now I think that the conservative movement was actually right on more issues. They've accumulated goodwill by doing that. And now the wolves are coming in. The trolls are coming in, okay? That's what I feel like. And like, the trolls are more dangerous. The trolls are more dangerous than the opposition, because again, you can't, because if you can't argue, like if the troll says something crazy, then, and they say, well, you can't talk against the troll because of like loyalty or whatever, or you think like they're helping the movement or something because they're popular, but they're not. They're leeching off the movement. They're not the pillars holding up the building. They're the termites feeding off of the pillars holding up the building. They're gonna, if you let them eat the poles, the building is gonna, that's what I feel like. Because you watch the conspiracy theories now, and they've gotten crazy conspiracy theories. And it's like, dude, and the only reason they've gotten so crazy is because people, like, they don't want to attack because they're on, quote, their own side, or I don't know. That's what I feel. Anyway, so that's my general idea on my rant here. Things are getting crazy out there. Like grandma accidentally ate the pot gummies again, crazy, for crying out loud. You've got the woke mainstream of sewage media, as always, now available in extra chunky. But I don't think that's the biggest threat, because everybody knows that they're totally corrupt. They're going down. Their entire business model is down. The trolls know where the gold is at. They know where the reputation can be gained. They know who to snuggle up to. And it's not the mainstream media anymore, I don't think. But on top of that, we've got the troll population explosion, people. That's where the danger lies. I'm telling you. I don't know what the algorithm is feeding these trolls, but it's definitely not vegetables. That's right. Honestly, I mean, if you ask most Americans what they think about the American way these days, they'll squint at you like you just asked them the name, to quote the laws of thermodynamics or something, and then they'll respond with something like, American way? What is that, some new brand of protein powder or something? Does it have creatine in it? You know, and it's like, seriously, it's rough out there, people. we've actually reached the point where the mainstream political commentators, not only on the left, but seems to be on the right, on the right, like the trolls on the right, they're insinuating things that are so crazy. It's like the tabloids, like that you used to get next to like the checkouts at the at the like grocery store, where like it would be funny as a joke, but I mean, they're insinuating that like dinosaurs are fake, gay, implanted by you know who, who's always behind the planting of the. And honestly, that's a great setup for like a stand-up comedian. If you're a stand-up comedian, then that would be funny because it's an exaggeration of the truth or whatnot. But if you're an actual commentator, like your credentials are like, I'm a hard-hitting journalist. I dig deep. I get the sources. And then you present like that. It's like, dude, it's not so much for someone who's supposed to understand political budgets, But I see the new conspiracy forming already, like mold on a college student's sandwich. You see, it's the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs were gay, and that's why they're extinct now. The dinosaurs. Oh yes, forget meteors, forget climate shifts, forget volcanic super eruptions. No, T-Rex was simply too fabulous to survive. Imagine explaining that to like the science class. Kids, dinosaurs went extinct because Jurassic Pride Month got way too outrageous. The meteor didn't kill them. The glitter did. They stopped reproducing, man. Look, I don't like the spectacle of the modern Pride Parade, right? I'm not a fan of the craziness that happened out there, but see, this is where the problem comes in. You've got people that are making like when you have people making arguments that are so ridiculous, even if they're against the thing that you don't like, it's not good because they're basically doing the work. They're doing the work of creating a straw man argument for the opposition, which has already been accepted then by you, right? If you're arguing against something and then someone has some ridiculous theory about the thing and you say, well, they're really popular and I'm gonna accept their theory because it kind of aligns with. No, you've basically accepted the straw man argument that you would think would be implanted if it could by the opposition, because it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous formation of the argument. Right? It's the most dangerous. I'm telling you. But dinosaurs were the warning. Wrong species, wrong era, wrong everything. It's not helpful. This is harmful. This is not. Stupid arguments don't just fail. They actually sabotage the good argument for your perspective. Like sending a clown to do the opening statement of your trial, right? It's basically a clown giving arguments that are supporting an idea that is good, framed in a way that's ridiculous, which is basically making a straw man that's just setting you up on a tee to be batted off by the opposition. The jury may laugh at the clown shoes, but it's not going to help your case, okay? Anyways, I wrote a song about it. I feel like there's a whole industry, there's a whole place for comedians right now for political satire that's not being touched because the left obviously has the horseshoe theory stuff, so they kind of agree with some of the same conspiracies. And why would they argue against the craziness when the crazy people are setting up their own false narratives that can be shut down as soon as they want to argue them seriously? And the right won't argue against their own trolls because of this false sense of I don't loyalty or something, even though the trolls are abusing that clearly, and it's a debate argument. So I feel like just what I'm doing here, like you can take the trolls' arguments, just copy and paste the transcript and put them into like a ChatGPT or something and ask it to make a political satire out of it. And that will at least give you the seeds of an idea that you can so easily make jokes about to tear down these arguments that are falsely made, so that you can construct the arguments that might have a good objective at the end of them in a way that isn't just creating a straw man setting you up to get knocked down. All right. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna play my song about it. First time I've heard the song.
Man, the world's been spinning, it's a circus in the streets. Feels like grandma hit the gummies and is floating off her seat. The news stream's overflowing, yeah, it's chunky in the feed. And the trolls keep multiplying like they found a place to breed. Whatever the algorithm's cooking, it ain't vitamins or greens. More like chaos in a blender, pouring straight into our screens. And if you ask folks what the American way might be, they'll look confused like you just asked them to explain entropy. Is that a new protein powder? Does it boost my energy? Man, it's rough, it's rough. The whole place is buzzing with conspiracies. Now the talking heads are shouting things that make the ancient world cry, saying dinosaurs were fake and fabulous and planted by some secret guy. Stuff that belongs in a comedy club, not in budget talks on Capitol Hill. And here we are, watching grown adults lose the plot and go downhill. And you can't see a new conspiracy grow mold like dog food. Someone's baking bad ideas and serving them as truth. They say the dinos disappeared because they were fabulous and bright. No meteor, no mama ship, just too much glitter in the night. Imagine telling kids in science class that pride must seal their fate. Not geology or physics, just a sparkle overload they couldn't take. And look, you can hate the parade or love the parade, that part of the issue today. But using dinosaurs as caution signs, man, you're as off okay. Wrong time, wrong species, wrong universe. It doesn't work that way. And bad arguments don't just miss, they sabotage the good ones first. It's like sending in a circus clown to argue for you in court. Sure, the jury laughs at the shoes, but your case is landing in the dirt. Yeah, things are getting wild out there. Grandma's floating, trolls are breeding. The news is pouring sludge again, and everyone's got hot takes bleeding. And if you ask what the nation stands for, people squint like they're lost in place. Is that a supplement in Walmart? Does it help define my way? So hold tight, keep sense intact. The world's absurd, that much is true. Just don't let clowns and fake conspiracies be the ones who speak for you.
Bunch of clowns, man. I tell you. I don't know. I don't know. It'd be funny as if they were comedians. It would be funny. but they're serious. I mean, come on. All right. Anyway, it's okay. It's okay. All right. All right. Okay. So now I'm thinking, so now we're on the collection of notes around the key of D, and I could do the same thing. So if I was in, so this collection of notes has G major. So G major would be the major key, which means it would be E minor. But I'm looking for the Mixolydian node, which of course is this open D. I think I hit the wrong string, but you know what I'm saying. It's right. So here's the position number 1. So that would be a minor, E minor, G major, and then we have the Mixolydian, which is the one we're focusing in on with that open D string. So if I want it to be completely symmetrical when I do my switch, then I can go from here, collection of notes around the key of D major, which has an A Mixolydian. And if I want to be really purely bluesy, I want to do something that's basically symmetrical. So instead of switching to the same collection of notes, so that was instead of switching to the same collection of notes, I'm going to go, in my mind, I'm going to switch completely to a different collection of notes around G major, which has a D Mixolydian. And if I map that out, and you might say, well, why do I map that out? I should just learn the convention of what to switch and what to change. You could do that too, right? You could just say, well, I'm just going to play the same pattern. But if you actually switch your mind to think about it this way, then you'll be able to vary the pattern in more complex ways that might give you different ideas. That's what I'm thinking, at least. So that would be position 1 here. So if I looked at position, so then that's position 1. So then obviously I can't go behind that, right? I'm going to go above that. And so now I have position 2, which is now here. And I've got my node right there. So I get this kind of lean forward node on the D string. That's my classic kind of triangle shape that gives me the root, which is node number 5, 5, 6, 7, 2 modal whole steps away, which was the 3rd scale degree. 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 modal whole steps away, which is the 7th scale degree, which is a minor 7 distance instead of a major 7 distance, because we're measuring from the Mixolydian node. Remember, and if I was measuring from a different major, like an Ionian, then it would be 7 away from that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 would get me to nodal point 7, which would be the 7th scale degree from the Ionian node. Notice it's up a knot, right? From here to here, from here to here. Why? Because it's 11 notes away. That's the difference, right? So that's why if I think of it as Mixolydian, I can be up here and like, okay, I have that position right there. And so this is position number, so I'm kind of thinking of myself as though I'm in, starting in kind of like position number 2 right here. And that's how I'd want to think about myself, at least, right? And then I'm ringing that open string. That would be position 2. I have another root down here, and I have then this one here, and I can pick. I don't normally do that one, so the 3rd would be below it. I don't normally do that. But yeah. Position 2, and then if I moved up here to the base of position 3, it would be up here. So there's my root. If I lean forward, there's the 5, and so that's my lean forward. There's the 7 going this way. Position 3. And the 3rd is back here, so I could try to. It's kind of hard to do the 3rd thing, but I can do it like this. So switching between the major and minor 3rd where that nodal point 7 is. Nice to know where the square is, right in the middle. And so, and the mixolydian is always at the top of the square, so you always get that triangle at the top of the square. that's that one. And then if I went to the top of that shape, I have I have this node here. So if I have that node and I think about like a lean back shape, I have the third right underneath it, and then I guess I have the that node, the seventh right there, which is funny. I don't do that often. But yeah, okay, I see that. And then you also have this shape up here. I could grab the 7 up there, which I also don't do that often. Guess borrowing it would be the way to go. You can get both of them. So I can analyze it, see how I can, so now if I put those two together, like I could now, instead of playing the same thing, like if I'm thinking about, now I'm back over here in the A for the Mixolydian. So now if I'm over here in the A of the Mixolydian, now I can start thinking, okay, well, what if I'm on this pivot point? I can reach out there, I can reach up here, I can reach up here. But then when I switch to go into the D, I'm going to switch my mind and do something that's in a different part of the shape, right? So normally I would do this. And then go down here and just do the same thing. Which gives you a pure symmetry, which is cool. But I can do a similar thing somewhere else, which would be easier to do if I've switched my perspective to the D Mixolydian instead of staying in the same collection of notes, right? So maybe, and then I'm going to move up here to the D. For that last one, but I've only worked on the two. We're going back and forth. So now, I'm thinking, so that was the D. So I could spend a whole lot more time like just analyzing that, but let's go to the E just to break my mind on the last one. So the E would be up top. So again, if I was looking at it from the perspective of just this collection of notes, the third move typically in the blues would be we start on the Aeolian, which is an A in this sorry, wait, I'm in the wrong collection. We start on the Aeolian from the perspective of the Mixolydian, which is a G from that perspective of notes, and then I could move down to the D, and then back to the A, and then I could do the same pattern for the E. So now that would be the Dorian, the related Dorian. The 2 is an E now, but I could just play the same pattern that I can. And then back to the D. And then back, and then to the A. So maybe I've focused my time on the E now. And once I get any of these down, then of course I could switch the pattern to any other blues, right? So once I get the D down, then I could say, well now I'm on the D Mixolydian, and instead of playing it as the second note related to an A Mixolydian, once I learned this shape, I could say, well now the pattern here would be D. The D would be the Mixolydian, or that would be the root, and then underneath it you've got the G, and then you've got up here the Dorian would be back to an A, right? So is that right? Yeah, I think so. That would be D G A, right? So then I can play it that way, as the D is the root, and then it introduces the G, which I can then think of as a Mixolydian, which is a fun one because it has the kink in the tuning with that third down there that is already flat or something. But what if I was on the E? So if I was on the E, then I'd have the Mixolydian up top, and interestingly on the bottom, the 2 E's, I can do the same pattern, 5 with the 2 over here, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. Well, I can't see my fingers. 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. 4 modal half step, which is +1 5th scale degree. So the 2 is the 5th of the distance from nodal point 5 Mixolydian to nodal point 2 Dorian is a 7 note away. Second modal whole step, 4th modal half step, 5th scale degree, right? And then if I go, and then I can't really go above it, but I still have the 7. I still have 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4 out here. This one, boom, and so that one is out here. I can't really grab the 3rd above it, which is kind of an issue, kind of a problem. I mean, I can't grab the 7 above it, but I still have the 3rd right there, right? So 5, 6, 7, 2 modal half steps plus 1 would be the 3rd scale degree. So I have a shortened shape up top, which isn't quite as fun, and that low note kind of messes it up. So that always kind of bugged me. But you also have the high E down here, so there's a lot to do with the E Mixolydian. A lot of people play in E minor and E blues. So then if I think about that more, so if I think about this, I'm on E. That's actually the collection of notes of A major, which is interesting, which goes back to F sharp minor. And if I walk up that shape on, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to be this 5 right here. There's that one. And so my position number 1 is right here, which is kind of interesting. So I have a position 1 right here, so I can do my normal position 1 stuff in here, which means like reaching up this way. So that's kind of interesting because normally I kind of pivot on this point with the open E. But I can also go down here and then grab that shape and then possibly release this nodal point to give me the open E as well, double E. Alright, and then going down below that, I have my normal shape down below, which would be here, 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 and then this one. Alright, I'm tired. I'll go back to this tomorrow.